Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It is the new year, I think. Well, nearly, anyways. And we've got a draw preview prediction video for the first 2025 tournament of the year, if you exclude the United Cup anyway. So we're going into the WTA Brisbane International Tournament. So that's it. The Australian summer is here. If you're Australian, if you're from New Zealand, if you're from the Pacific, that's it. You guys are sorted for the next month, let's say. And kudos to you guys and have fun as the rest of the world, or especially Europe, will be watching at ridiculous times in the middle of the night. But you know what? Tennis is worth it. So we've got a pretty stacked draw here, and Sabalenka, the world number one, is present as well. So a lot to play for, and I think it's obviously going to be an interesting tournament to see can can a few of the players take momentum into the first Grand Slam of the year, which is going to be really interesting as well. The qualifying's done and dusted, so we are going to have a full roster to get into as we pick each and every single match from the first round, work our way through the draw, and ultimately I will give you guys my predicted champion. Sabalenka, of course, as the number one seed, is a big favorite, but it is the first tournament of the year, so she may not necessarily peak at this point or even play at a high enough level to potentially win the tournament. She will have all eyes, or all of her, all of her wants and will be geared towards recapturing a third straight Australian Open title. So she's got to buy in the first round, though, Sabalenka. And then we've got Tomova versus Zarazua in the first round as well. I'm going to go Tomova for that one. Then we've got Lynette versus McCartney Kessler. I'm going to go with Lynette, Potenseva, and Azarenka both at buys. We've got an all Australian matchup in Madison Inglis versus Maya Joint. I'm going to go for the qualified Inglis. Buskova and Talia Gibson, who is from Australia as well. I'm pretty, I wouldn't say fan, but I'm pretty sold on Marie Buskova. I think she's got some quality about us. I'm going to go for the Czech player. Ostapenko and Badosa both have buys. Avanesium versus Shramkova. Look, Shramkova, a lot of people in our community, in our quality shot tennis community, telling me that she is going to be the one to look out for in 2025. It's hard to disagree, and I think she'll get through her first round match. Ons Jabeur, great to see her back on court and back in action. She plays Chinese player Zhang Sasei. I'm going to go for Jabeur, but it's interesting to see what type of level we see from her straight away in the first match that she has after a pretty lengthy layoff. On top of that as well, how far can she progress? And also, will she viably be a contender at the Australian Open, where she has never made particularly big deep runs at before, anyways? But she's a quality player. She's made multiple Grand Slam finals. The Australian Open, I think the court's a little bit too quick for her. I think is what has been a bit of an issue in the past for Ons, but we'll see how she gets on and whether she's able to recapture some form, at least going into the first slam of the year. Alexandrova and Noskova both have buys. Tadoni is a qualifier, plays books, so we'll go for the qualifier in Tadoni. Then we've got Blinkova versus Balek. And Blinkova, of course, had that epic match against Rybakina at the Australian Open last year, a record-breaking tiebreaker, and managed to beat the former Australian Open finalist and Wimbledon champion. It'll be interesting to see if she is able to do anything in this part of the year again. We'll see. Andreeva and Kalinskaya both have buys as they are seeded. Kruger plays Uchima. That's a really good match. I want to go for Uchima. And Rakamova to beat Lemens for me. Freck and Samsonova both have buys. Paulina Kudermetova, so that's Veronika Kudermetova's sister. She's qualified and will play Wang Junju. I'm going to go for Wang Junju. Her sister, Veronica Kudermetova, plays Peyton Stearns. I'm going to go for this time. I'm going to go for a Kudermetova win. Kasakina and Schneider both have buys. Kalinina plays Wang Yafan. Tough one. I'm going for Kalinina. Wan Yu versus Rus Arantxa Rus. Go for Wan Yu. Kostyuk and Yastremska, both Ukrainians have buys. Potapova plays Bogdan, who's a qualifier. I'm going to go for Potapova. I'm going to go for Priscilla Hon, the qualifier, to beat wildcard Kimberly Burrell. And then Navarro, number 2 seed, has a bye. So I've got Sabalenka to beat Tomova, I think, for me. Lynette Potentseva is a very solid matchup. Lynette could edge it. I'm going to stick with Potentseva for now. Azarenka, look, hard courts. She is a danger, as we know. I've got her beating qualified Inglis. Ostapenko, Buzkova. I'm going to go for the upset here and go for Buzkova to beat Ostapenko. Badosa, Shramkova. Can Shramkova beat Badosa? Yes. But if it's the Badosa we saw at the back end of last year, or for the majority of last year, it's going to be a tough matchup for Shramkova, so we're going to go for Badosa. Jabeur plays Alexandrova. That'll be a tough match for Ons, big serving player, someone who's played a lot of tennis last year as well. Jabeur is going to be rusty. I'm going to go with Alexandrova to beat Jabeur. I think it's going to take her at least a couple of months to get back to what we're used to seeing from the Tunisian. Noskova to beat Todoni, and I'm going to go for Andreeva to beat Blinkova, Kanatskaya to beat Ochima, and Freck to beat Rakimova, Samsonova to beat Wang Jinyu, and Kasakina to beat Kudermetova. Is that right? Excuse me. Yeah, let's go for it. Schneider and Kalinina. Schneider. I mean, she had a great year last year. Kostyuk to beat Wan Yu. And I'm going to go for Potapova to upset Yastremska, given that Yastremska is a seed. And then Navarro to beat Priscilla Hon. Although that will be a very interesting matchup because both players have a lot of variety. They like to mix it up. Good shot tolerance. So, yeah, I think it's going to end up being a real high IQ tennis match. A lot of chess being played on court. Sabalenka to beat Potentseva for me. Azarenka to beat Buzkova. I'm going to go for Badosa to beat Alexandrova. I'm going to go for Noskova to beat Andreeva. Battle of the Young Guns. Kanskaya and Freck. I'm going to go for Kanskaya there. Samsonova and Kasakina. I'm going to go for Kasakina and Schneider to beat Kostyuk. Again, another battle of the Young Guns. And then Navarro to beat Potapova. So that leaves me with quarterfinals of Sabalenka versus Azarenka in an all Belarusian affair. Badosa versus Noskova. Kanskaya versus Kasakina. And Schneider versus Navarro. Okay. I'm going to go Sabalenka to beat Azarenka. I'm going to go Noskova to Badosa. It's a big call, but I'm going for it. I'm going to go for Kalinskaya to beat Kasakina and Schneider to beat Navarro. So that would be an upset on paper. Number 5 seed beating the number 2 seed. And the semi-finals of Sabalenka and Noskova and Kalinskaya and Schneider. I'm actually going to go for Noskova to beat Sabalenka. And then again, this is because I don't think she's going to be near her top level. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Kalinskaya, Schneider, I want to go for Schneider to beat Kalinskaya, which would set up an incredible young star final between Noskova and Schneider. And I want to go for Schneider to get the win. She's been really prolific in the last 12 to 15 months, winning a lot of titles. And I think she's going to add to her collection. So that's my pick. Let me know in the comments section below who you picked and why. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video. Also, remember that like button, subscribe if you're new, and also leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Appreciate each and every one of you. Speak soon.